Again, $1.99. My biggest shocker is the leakage in the secondary. So that brings us to our next topic, Elijah. Our next topic is defensively, we have a problem. So shout out to Elijah for transitioning us perfectly into this. So guys, let me throw some stats at you. Wink Martindale is doing his best Don Brown impression. I'm going to let you guys know. And I know that was the concern heading into the season. A lot of people were concerned about this man coverage, zero blitz, 6-man pressures, putting guys on islands. And on top of that, what has also become apparent is the complexity on the back end of the defense on some of the zone plays that Wink Martindale's defense brings, that even in the NFL, guys were having trouble with Brian Daboll. We have been told that Brian Daboll asked Wink Martindale to simplify the defense on the back end because it was just too challenging at times, and players were not reacting; they were thinking. And Wink Martindale remained stubborn, which is one of the reasons why Brian Daboll moved on from Wink Martindale. So here we go, guys. We are ranked 115th in passing yards. That is what we were ranked in Division I college football. That is absolutely insane. Michigan should never be ranked anywhere past 40 in any of that, especially when you have one of the best corners in the nation. Like, it is absolutely insane that that's even occurring right now in Michigan. You know, I mean, there are 36 schools right now, 135, I don't even know, 136, 135, 134, something like that. We're ranked at the damn bottom, guys. Near the bottom in the in college football. Like, that's absolutely just insane to me. We rank 132nd in passing attempts against our defense right now. Like, that is insane. Again, teams feel like they could throw on us all day. When you have Makari Page, when you have Zeke Berry, when you have Will Johnson, teams are just, and it's not like we're playing against these offensive juggernauts, guys. Like, we went against Fresno State, Arkansas State, Washington's okay. You know, like, what is that, right? We rank 131st in completions against us. We have a lockdown. Well, Will Johnson has had his moments. We saw him early in the year in non-con play, give up some catches. He's made up for it to some extent, but he also sat out the week prior to Washington. Jair Hill had a very tough game last game. We rank 131st in completions. We rank 116th in passing touchdowns a game. 116th, guys. 115th in first downs through passing per game. We're giving up 12.5 first downs a game. How the hell are you going to win when you don't have a quarterback? When you don't have a quarterback who can literally lead your team, your quarterback has to play within the system, game manage to win games. How do we expect to win? You know, like, what are we going to do? We are 79th. We rank 79th in passing completion with against opposing quarterbacks. 79th. And we haven't even played Indiana, Oregon, Ohio State. Like, we're playing against some much more aggressive offenses coming, you know? Like, it's very concerning. Defensively, we have a problem. Wink Martindale is an issue. Like, it's officially an issue. It's a big concern. It's something that I can't overlook. We saw some moments, USC, where the defense actually played really well. The game plan was solid. We noticed he was dialing up, or we were doing a better job of not throwing too many guys on the blitz. We were rushing with 4. We were getting pressure up the middle. The team was playing better. And then what does he do against Washington? 6-man blitzes, exposing the back end of the defense. That's what's killing this team right now, is that we are doing these wild ass blitzes, exposing the back end of the defense, putting guys on islands. It's not good. Like, it is similar. It's not Don Brown, but it's damn close to Don Brown. It's damn close. Extremely dangerous, in my opinion. And if we want to save the season, this has to be corrected. Sharon Moore needs to get in Wink Martindale's ass right now. Honestly, you know, it's absolutely a problem. And I'm going to tell you guys, we need a new defensive coordinator. I don't think the old dog is going to learn new tricks. This is a major concern, and this is why we didn't beat Washington. We should have beat Washington. Our defense has 3 first rounders on it. You know, and 2 of them are interior defensive linemen. We have another defender, Josiah Stewart, who has how many sacks on the year? Let me look. How many damn sacks is he at 4 now? Like, it's not like we're not getting pressure. You know, it's absolutely insane. So Josiah Stewart has 5. I'm sorry. How dare I? He has 5 sacks on the year. Unbelievable. You know, like, what are we doing? 5 sacks in 5 games. Josiah Stewart's a damn problem. And he's not in, like, so why are we rushing the, and then, like, here's what is even worse is we rush 6 defenders, right? And they don't even get home. Because the offense already knows where the pressure's coming from. They just make us pay because they already know where it's so obvious. Like, that's the thing too, is like, there's no creativity. There's no, the disguise blitzing is extremely limited. There's no coverage disguises like we saw with Mike McDonald and Jesse Minter. And then on the back end, I was watching some film on the back end of the defense. Our DBs and safeties are communicating with each other. They don't know. They don't know where they're supposed to be, which is why we're seeing these missed these out of position plays where, like, Makari Page is out of position, or we saw Pollard be out of position against Texas. This is not good. This is extremely dangerous. We will not be able to save the season if this continues. My hope is this gets corrected because we've seen it. We've seen moments where Wink is he's just rushing for, or you know, he is playing he is doing a well-coached game. We saw this against USC. There's no reason he can't duplicate it. He's got to look in the mirror. And I know there's a history of Wink Martindale just remaining stubborn. He remained stubborn in Baltimore. He remained stubborn with the Giants. This was a concern. There were a lot of people who voiced this. You know, we'll see. So that's where we are with the defense. Extremely concerning, in my opinion. Let's get to these super chats. Elijah, you coming through. We appreciate it very much. And then Elijah, $4.99, because Will Rogers was getting drilled, but when he threw the ball, he had wide receivers open, which means he knew exactly where to throw the defense. Yeah, I think our defense is predictable. And I think offensive coordinators know what they need to do. As more games go on, there's going to be more and more film on our defense. They're going to know what players to go after. Jair Hill right now, Makari Page, Jay-Sean Barnum has been a liability in coverage, although last game was a little better. Yeah, I mean, they're identifying the weak spots in our defense. They also, listen, you're learning Wink's tendencies. This is an extreme red flag. It's not good. We should not be ranked in the hundreds. There's too much talent on this defense. Guys, our best players returned. You got Josiah Stewart. You got Derek Moore, who was injured last game, but TJ Guy played well. Kenneth Grant, Mason Graham, Rayshon Benny, Ernest Hausman, Jay-Sean Barham, who was better at Maryland than here. Why? Because poor ass coaching. That's why. You got Will Johnson, one of the best corners in the nation, and you're giving up 100. I'm sorry, you're ranked 115th in passing yards. One side of the field should be locked down. You should be able to design your defense that should be a strength. That should allow you to move guys elsewhere. So this way there's less coverage needed on one side of the field. You know, we've seen Will Johnson lock down Marvin Harrison Jr., guys. Like, we've seen this, you know, like, it's just unbelievable, you know. It's I don't know. It actually baffles me. I didn't anticipate it to be this terrible, and it is. Elijah Bowman again, $9. Page is getting exposed. Rod Moore covered him up. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's Rod Moore covered him up. I actually just think Jesse Minter was way better defensively. Like, Jesse Minter and Jay Harbaugh are extreme upgrades to JB Brown and Wink Martindale. Like, it's not even the same damn sphere. You know, like JB Brown coaches the safeties as well as special teams. And he's not Jay Harbaugh. Wink Mart and then Clinkscale. I mean, you could argue Clinkscale's a better X and O's coach than Lamar Morgan. Lamar Morgan's killing it on the trail right now. But this is definitely concerning, guys. This is something that Michigan needs to look in the mirror on. It's not that they see, this is the good news. It's not that it can't be fixed, because it can, but they have to be willing to do it. If you are not willing to make the necessary changes, the necessary adaptations, stop blitzing 6 guys all the damn. We're getting pressure. What are you doing? We're getting pressured, rushing for, maybe blitz the occasional player in situational scenarios, but stop with this this coverage zero shit, these 6-man blitzes. I mean, the stats speak for themselves, the results speak for themselves. The team doesn't even look. And then on top of that, we got to start coaching. Another thing too is the tackling. When was the last time? I'm going to ask you guys in the chat. You guys tell me. When was the last time Michigan looked this poor tackling? Brady Hoke era? Because Jim Harbaugh's defense has actually been pretty sound tackling. Yeah, I don't know. I'd say maybe the Brady Hoke era, definitely Rich Rod era. We know that. Shout out to Detective Loki. Gifted a membership to the Voice of College Football. Thank you, Detective Loki. We appreciate you. Elijah Bowman again. So the lack of elite recruiting in the 23-24 class and the lack of good coaching staff and an aggressive NIL push, does this fall on Ward? Does 100% of it fall on Ward? No. But does a lot of it fall on Ward in the sense, here's why. All right. So it's a mix. All right. So it's a mixed bag, because yeah, there's blame for Ward though. Ward's reactive approach to NIL and Michigan's, actually it goes above Ward though. It's the Regents as well. The Regents had no ambition. It's so frustrating when you have a university like Michigan who claims to be cutting edge. And I don't even want to say, I was going to say something. I'm not going to say it though. But, Michigan's brand protects Michigan. And the leaders at the top, unfortunately, lean on this brand. And their actions do not meet the standard they say they uphold. And the good news is this, though. Even with a reactive approach and even with a terrible strategy in current markets, they can save their asses because Michigan is the brand it is, because it has the resources that it has. So the reality is this NIL will get better. It's just, unfortunately, it was poorly strategized from the beginning. They didn't even want anything to do with it. Though their dumbasses thought it was just gonna go away. Just don't have to worry about it. Not our problem. It took 2 years before there was even a plan. If it was not for Santa Ono, there would not have been even a plan a year ago. When that thing started getting kicked off, Santa Ono, 3 months into the job, had a meeting in December and said, there is no reason why Michigan cannot be the best. And if you say if you give me a reason why they cannot, then those are excuses, and I do not take excuses. That's what Santa Ono did. That is a comment. I paraphrased it a little, but that is a comment behind a closed door meeting that became public. It leaked. Santa Ono was not happy, and he had a few December meetings. And there was, I want to word this correctly. Ward had some stern words, there's been some stern words towards Ward, in his approach to this shit. There have been some people who have been like, Ward, you a little kick in the ass. And you definitely saw that. You really saw it in January when he started doing, Ward actually was a part of the collective's, I guess, meetings or gatherings with donors, and he was actually a part of the presentation. And he started making himself more public in that area. But yeah, listen, Ward, unfortunately, he's, in my opinion, this is my opinion, and I know there's gonna be people who disagree. Ward is nothing more than a regent puppet. The regents tell him what to do. He says, absolutely, yes, sir. And he plays his part. We can look at the countless mistakes that Ward has made, from coaching, letting coaches go, not matching certain things like and I know I'm going to get some shit here because of the debate, but I have a source on this one that I know is good. The Jeff Backett situation, the baseball coach, he handled that so poorly. Backett didn't want to leave. Backett would have stayed at Michigan if they gave him what he needed in terms of facilities and matching contracts and all of that. I have good intel on that one. And then obviously the way he treated John Beilein. John Beilein was waiting for a phone call, and Ward didn't give him in terms of him going to Cavaliers. Ward didn't respond. John Beilein was going to give him 24 hours, and then John Beilein said "F it," and he just made the move to the Cavaliers. Now, granted, John Beilein was getting very frustrated with the climate of college athletics, but to your point, Elijah, I did get off path. The lack of recruiting it also falls on Jim Harbaugh. The approach he took with Dante Moore, the all eggs in one basket, was an awful approach to recruiting. It's why we don't have a quarterback this year. Okay. The lack of portal aggression, right? That falls on Sharon Moore. That falls on the collectives. That falls on the donors. I mean, it's really an all involved issue here. Now, because the donors, like it's, and Ward has in credit to Ward, we'll give Ward some credit here. Ward has said there is a philosophical approach occurring with Michigan donors. They are starting to understand the value and need of donating to Michigan athletics for its players, not just athletics, because they've done that. The donors have done that. We know that, but the players. Now there's still some big fish like Stephen Ross who find it he doesn't feel like it's his responsibility. We wish he would, because that'd be wonderful. Maybe eventually he will come around, especially looking at the product on the field right now. I mean, if you're somebody like Stephen Ross, you can't be happy about it. It can't make you feel good, especially someone of his age. Like, I don't know, it pissed me off if I was him, but he has the Dolphins, so he probably feels his money should go there. But regardless, the reality is, yes, Ward is to blame. I'd say he's probably 45% of the problem. I'd say the Regents are probably, I don't know. I'd probably say he's more 40% of the problem. The Regents are probably 30% of the problem. The donors are probably another 20% of the problem. The coaching staff's the other 10, or, give or take 10, 5%. Who knows? I mean, the reality is the coaching staff botched the shit out of it in the April portal. And they know it. I mean, there's no way they don't know it. So hopefully that's corrected. And we see Dave Portnoy vocal. He cannot be the only donor who is like that. I'm sure he's not. No one finds this acceptable. I could tell you that. Even Sharon Moore has changed his approach to the media, holding his team accountable publicly. He wasn't doing that before. So we'll see. But thank you again, Elijah, for the $4.99 super chat. GT in the house. Just imagine how this defense will look next year if we keep the same coaches after half of these guys in the NFL. And that is an extremely good point, GT, and this is a problem. We are losing so much on defense next year. Wink Martindale cannot be here. Cannot be. You need a coach who is going to scheme our guys into a position of success, because we are going to lose Mason Graham. We're going to lose Kenneth Grant. We're going to lose Will Johnson. We're going to lose, Makari Page is likely gone, but I mean, at this point, Ernest Hausman probably is gone. Josiah Stewart's gone. Derek Moore's gone. Rayshon Benny will probably be back for another year. Jayshon Barnum, I believe the plan was for him to be gone, but the way he's playing, I don't see it. Rod Moore is gone. Unless, and he has said this, Rod Moore has said this publicly, unless they give me an extremely good NIL offer. And I don't know if they would. The reason why I don't know if they would, it's not that I don't think the collectives are going to have money, because they will. Revenue sharing picks up. We're going to have a lot of money, actually. I just don't know if they feel like the amount of money it would take for Rod Moore not to come back is worth the investment. We'll see, though. It's too early to tell there. We'll find out. I talked to John. So this is, so I talked to John about this. When they do another one of those who stay funds, me and John are going to dedicate a show, and 100% of our profits are going to go to that. So that's one. We're definitely going to dedicate a show to the NIL. We're going to do our part. Because, I feel like, with our platform, we should do what we can.